Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Wise-Poullard, and you're listening to Behind the Smile. Before we begin, I want to ask you a simple question. How are you? Really? Not the answer you give your coworkers, not the answer you post on social media, and not the answer you tell your family because you don't want them to worry. But how are you deep down? Because the truth is, so many of us are carrying more than we let the world see. We smile while our hearts are breaking. Welcome to Behind the Smile, because behind every smile, there's a survivor. And behind every survivor, there's a story worth telling. Behind every uniform is a human being, a man or woman, who has answered the call to serve, often carrying burdens that the rest of the world never fully understand. Some return home with visible wounds, hidden behind a smiles, promotion, accomplishments, and the words, "I'm fine." Military culture teaches strength, sacrifice, discipline, but sometimes that same strength can make it difficult to ask for help. The truth is, asking for help is not weakness, it's courage. Healing is not about forgetting what happened, it's about learning how to carry your story without allowing it to carry you. Welcome to Behind the Smile. I'm your host, Dr. Wise-Poullard, retired U.S. Army major, veteran, educator, and fellow traveler on this journey of healing. Today, we'll be discussing how to help therapists work with active duty retired military service members and retired military service members. I couldn't think of a better person to join me for this important conversation today. Dr. Shatanda Johnson Anderson. On a personal note, Dr. Anderson and I have been friends for more than 4 decades. We've celebrated victories, supported one another through challenges, and witnessed each other's growth. It is truly an honor to have not only a respected professional joining us today, but also a dear friend. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. Johnson Anderson to Behind the Smile.
Thank you, Dr. Poullard, for having me as a guest. I am Dr. Shatanda Johnson Anderson. I have a master's degree in social work from the University of Houston and a doctorate from Virginia University of Lynchburg. I am licensed in Texas and Louisiana as a clinical social worker. I specialize in risk management, compliance, case management, and therapeutic treatments with individuals diagnosed with serious mental illnesses. I own a private practice in Houston, Texas called Safe Space Therapeutic Solutions by Shatanda J, where I provide therapy to aging adults, individuals with severe mental illness diagnosis, and athletes. I commend Dr. Poullard for starting her podcast because I have several friends and family members who transitioned out of the armed services and the support was not really there for them. This podcast will allow Dr. Poullard to explore and expand on different topics which are relevant to individuals in the armed services and those who are retired veterans. I want to start out with some statistics before we begin. The Department of War released its seventh annual report on suicide in the military in 2024 on March 31st, 2026. The data represents service members, their families, reserves, and National Guard members. This data does not include Coast Guard service members. 471 service members died by suicide in 2024. 531 service members died by suicide in 2023. Firearms continue to be the primary method of death by suicide, followed by hanging and asphyxia. In terms of demographics, over 93% of military suicide deaths are men, and approximately half of reported suicides are junior enlisted personnel classified from E1 to E4. The Department of Defense reported that of the total service members who died by suicide in 2023, 44% had intimate relationship problems, 42% had at least one mental health diagnosis, 29% had administrative or legal problems, 24% experienced workplace difficulties, 12% experienced financial issues, and 2% had experienced assault or harassment. And this is some information that I received from the internet. It came from the website congress.gov. And this is what stands out most from this chart. The Army consistently has some of the highest rates of suicide. The Army had the highest or near highest suicide rates in numerous years. In 2023, the Army rate was 34.8%, which is much higher than the overall active duty rate of 28.2%. Army rates have generally remained elevated over time. If you look at the Marine Corps, there was a major increase in 2022 to 2023. The Marine Corps rates jumped from 23.9% in 2021 to 36% in 2022. They stayed relatively high at 35.9% in 2023. This is one of the most dramatic increases shown in the chart. If you look at the Air Force and Navy, they have lower rates than the Army and Marines. Navy rates stayed between 17% and 22.1% across the years. The Air Force rates range from 15.3% to 25.1%. While these numbers are still concerning, they were generally lower than the Army and Marine Corps rates. Active duty personnel have higher rates than reservists. Active duty rates stayed between 24.3% and 28.6%. Reserve rates stayed lower, ranging from 18.5% to 22.9%. This suggests suicide mortality is a larger concern among active duty members than reservists. Regarding the National Guard, their rates were very high early on but improved. The National Guard overall rate was 30.8% in 2018, but by 2023, it decreased to 21.2%. This represents one of the larger improvements shown in the data. As you're looking at this chart, let me tell you about some key takeaways. The Army and Marine Corps personnel have the highest suicide mortality rates. Marine Corps rates increased sharply in 2022 through 2023. Active duty members consistently have higher rates than reservists. National Guard rates did improve over time, but overall, military suicide rates remain a significant concern with no sustained downward trend in active duty personnel. So, we'll begin by talking about how to help therapists work with active and retired military personnel. So, Dr. Poullard, can you tell me what kind of programs are available to active duty personnel?
There are several programs that's available to active duty programs. But first, I would like to highlight something what I would recommend. If the soldier is spiritually, I would recommend that they would talk to their chaplain first because the chaplain can provide a safe place to begin with the soldiers that is struggling with issues. And the environment with the chaplain is a lot less intimidating and then going straight to the other sources first. But active duty soldiers have several mental health programs that's available. Military One Source, it offers free and confidential short-term counseling for stress, grief, relationship issues, deployment stress, and family concern. TRICARE and military treatment facilities, it provides mental health care such as therapy and management, substance use treatment, and emergency care. We also have the military and family life counseling, which offers non-medical counseling for daily stress and family challenges and communication and coping skills. And also there's a act. It's called the Brandon Act. The Brandon Act, it allows service members to request a mental health evaluation through their commander or supervisor. And if a soldier is in transition, it also helps service members stay connected to mental health when moving from duty station to duty station or even deploying.
Okay. Anything else? Any other programs available?
I would like to highlight this. For immediately crisis support, service members can always call or text 988 and press 1 for the Veteran Military Crisis Line.
Okay, that's awesome. And so, Dr. Poulard, what kind of programs are available to veterans?
Veterans have several mental health programs available to support their healing, their recovery, and their daily cope. The VA mental health program it offers counseling, therapy, medication management, PTSD treatment, depression, anxiety, grief support, military sexual trauma support, substance use. They also have the vet centers, which provide free confidential counseling in a more relaxed setting to veterans and families dealing with PTSD, depression, and deployment, stress, grief.
Okay.
Also, another powerful program is the Warrior Care Network. And this program falls under Wounded Warrior Project. Everything is provided at no cost. It's an intensive mental health care program for service members and families dealing with PTSD, traumatic brain injury, military sexual trauma, anxiety, depression, and any related challenges. And under the Warrior Care Network, it's four main locations where you could go and get treatment. It's UCLA in California, Operation Men, in Emory Healthcare Veteran Program in Atlanta, Rush University Medical Center Road Home Program in Chicago, and then the home base at Massachusetts General in Boston. These programs help veterans receive professional care, build coping skills, and involve family support when available, and create a plan for continued healing after treatment.
Okay, awesome. What is the process to obtain a therapist for active duty personnel and veterans?
Well, for veterans have several mental health programs, have several ways to obtain a therapist. For an active duty soldier to obtain a therapist, the first step is they have to go to their military treatment facility or behavioral health clinic or speak with their primary care manager to request mental health. If the soldier want a civilian therapist through trial care, they should work with their primary care physician. Authorizations are normally handled for active duty soldiers to see a civilian mental health professional.
Okay.
They can also contact Military One Source, which provide the free counseling by phone, online, video, or in person.
Okay. And what services are offered at the local VA for veterans?
The local VA offers several services. The local VA have groups. The local VA also have women's groups, men's group, post 9/11 groups for veterans. They also have different programs dealing with mental health for veterans. You could go inpatient or outpatient.
Okay. Any other resources that you know about locally for veterans?
No, but veterans can also get referred to the Warrior Care Network through the VA.
Okay. And how can a retired veteran access the benefits at the VA? So, will they need to just call the number or can they walk in?
A retired veteran, they can access their benefits at the VA. And if this is their first time or just getting out the military, they're going to need some important documents. They're going to need their DD 214, military medical records, VA disability rating letter if they have it, if they have one, their banking information, and they could also go in each area or each parish or county. They have a veteran service officer that also helps the vets with getting all of their paperwork and documents together. And this starts the process where a veteran could go into the VA and get help, get health care, mental health care, education benefits, home loan benefits, voc rehab, caregiver support, barrier support.
Those sound like some awesome benefits. And are these free or do they have to pay a copay?
No, all of the benefits are free. If the wait is too long, now the VA have a community health program where they will refer the veteran out in the community to get whatever they need. They may need to get a filling, so they'll refer them out to a dentist in the community or to get the filling done because the VA is maybe pushed back 60 days at their dental facility. So they use the community to help veterans out so they could get in a lot sooner.
Okay, that's awesome. And when a military service person contacts a therapist, this is a question that came up. When a military service person contacts a therapist, what are some questions the therapist should ask to see if the therapist is a good fit for the service member? So, these are some questions that I would ask the service member if I were to be a therapist to anybody in the armed services. I would want to know what brings you in now and what are you hoping to get out of treatment. So when the person answers this question, I will best know how to approach the situation and I'll know how to treat the person. What is your military background? I would like to know the status, the branch, how long they've been in the service, deployment and combat exposure. And I also want to know what kind of trauma the person that has experienced. Have they been injured? Was it military sexual trauma or blast head injury? I want to know what are the current symptoms the person is experiencing, how long they've had the symptoms, and how the symptoms are affecting the work, relationships, and sleep patterns. I'd also want to know, has the person been in mental health treatment before and what has helped or did not help? I want to know, is the person currently having any thoughts of suicide or harming others? And does the person have access to a firearm? I also will need to know about alcohol or substance use, current use or past use, and has it caused any problems in the person's life? I would need to know, is the person currently working with other providers or taking psychiatric medications? And does the person have any concerns about how their treatment could affect their clearance, career, or fitness for duty status? I would also want to know, has the person ever been treated for prolonged exposure, cognitive processing therapy, EMDR? And what would they need for me to feel safe and understood?
Good information.
And so my question to you is, what are some questions the service member should ask to see if the therapist is a good fit for the person?
Well, I think one of the main questions the service member should ask, what is your experience of working with military personnel, veterans or the family members? Have you received any training dealing with PTSD, anxiety? Have you treated any individuals before that has combat related trauma like PTSD, military sexual trauma? What evidence based treatment do you use for trauma and PTSD?
Okay. And on the screen, there are other questions that the service person could answer, could ask the therapist. Okay, Dr. Poulard, what aspect of a therapist's office environment may be triggering for military service members, and what should the therapist avoid?
One of the key things I would say from my experience is seeing pictures of active duty soldiers or pictures of soldiers in a uniform. That can be very triggering and causing a very strong emotions. I mean, pictures with weapons and military vehicles. Also, the news, hearing about the news while you're sitting and waiting on your therapist. Those are some things that could be very triggering to soldiers and cause problems.
Okay. And during the initial meeting with the military service person, a lot of assessments will need to be completed. How can a therapist not trigger the service person by asking questions on the assessment regarding trauma, military life, PTSD, and suicide?
Explain. One of the key things they could do, explain the purpose of the assessment before asking the sensitive questions. Making sure that the soldier understand why they're getting an assessment. Be calm and be very respectful. And one of the key things I always say, be non-judgmental. Focus first on the symptoms, the function, the strength, and the treatment goals. Explain that discussing suicide thoughts does not automatically mean you're going to be hospitalized. You're going to be put inpatient. Counselors need to allow the service members to speak freely, emphasize that they may be declined to answer questions on or revisit topics later if needed. Please seek help if needed. There are several resources that we have posted here today. Veterans Military Crisis Line, VA Mental Health Services, the Vet Centers, the Wounded Warrior Project, Warrior Care Network, Give Me an Hour. You could send me an email or go to the webpage and send me a message, and I could provide these resources for you. But like I said before, you don't have to suffer alone. But please, if you need any assistance, please contact me or screenshot these resources that's here. As we close today's episode, I want to remind each of you that healing is not a destination, it's a journey. Whether you're active duty, service member, veteran, caregiver, or someone carrying invisible wounds that no one else can see, please know this: you are not alone. Behind that smile we wear every day, many of us are fighting battles that others know nothing about. But asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It is one of the greatest acts of courage. There's strength in reaching out, strength in sharing your story, and strength in choosing to keep going. Even when the road ahead feels uncertain, your trauma does not define you. Your diagnosis does not determine your destiny. Your story is still being written, and there is hope beyond the pain. Until next time, this is Dr. Yolanda Poullard reminding you that behind every smile is a story, behind every scar is survival. And behind every setback is the possibility of a comeback. Keep the faith, keep fighting, and never forget you are stronger than you think. If you or someone you know is struggling, please don't suffer in silence. Help is available. Call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Line. Trained counselors are available 24 hours a day to listen and support and connect you with resources. If you are a veteran, simply press 1 to reach the Veteran Crisis Line.
Well, I want to thank you for having me, Dr. Poullard. This has been a great conversation that we had, and I'm so happy to help you share these resources with service members.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson Anderson. It's been really nice for you to come on here and share your expertise with us today. And I hope and pray that this helps someone out there that's listening today.
I know, it would be great. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. If you enjoyed today's episode and love what we're building here at Behind the Smile, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support helps us to reach more people who may need hope, encouragement, and a reminder that they're not alone. And remember, whatever you're facing today, keep smiling, keep believing, and keep moving forward. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. This is Dr. Yolanda Poullard, and this has been Behind the Smile.